How's it going, everybody? It's Tim, and in this video I wanted to go over Bionano Genomics earnings. It was released yesterday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to cut it up in time and put it out there, but I will leave you down below in the description the full earnings call edited, cleaned up a bit. I took about 10 minutes out of the overall call, so definitely check that out if you're curious about Bngo. There are actually some very interesting questions at the end. But in this video, I'm basically just going to look over their earnings in this article here. And then after that, we're going to look at the chart. There are definitely a couple of support levels to watch and a resistance level to watch. So let's get into this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's check out Bngo stock. And if you guys want this article as well, you can easily find it on their investor relations tab, but I will leave it down below with the full earnings call. So what are we looking at? Well, they have 55% year-over-year revenue growth in the quarter reported. They're on track to achieve all of their milestones. They have a strong balance sheet with $180.2 million in cash equivalents, and available for sale securities. And here's some highlights. For the first time, the ASHG, or American Society of Human Genetics, annual meeting featured a dedicated scientific session on genome mapping technologies, with researchers highlighting OGM as a technique that has the potential to revolutionize molecular and cytogenetic research. Additionally, 24 scientific and poster presentations covered OGM's ability, or OGM's utility, in genetic disease research and other research areas including schizophrenia, ataxia, constitutional and neurodevelopment disorders. And Bionano did recently hold their first scientific user meeting in the company's history to bring together over 50 researchers curious about the OGM. And with Hamilton, they announced the commercialization of the long-string Vantage for the isolation of ultra-high molecular weight DNA to use in OGM. The long-string Vantage is the first assay-ready workstation solution in Hamilton's long-string genomics product program and supports extraction of UHMW DNA at increased scale. And results confirmed that labs can process up to 12 UHMW DNA samples per run and 24 samples with high consistency and reproducibility in an 8-hour workday. The automated workflow marks a significant improvement over the manual method, dramatically reducing the heads-on time and the number of samples that can be purified to UHMW DNA. And this was touched on the earnings. I highly recommend you guys go listen to it. The Q&A at the end I think is very, very worthy of listening to. And looking at their business highlights, their revenue was a record-breaking quarter, 7.2 million, and they grew their base of Sapphire systems to 217, so they grew it by 21 machines, which is an 11% increase compared to Q2 of 2022. And compared to year over year, Q3 of 2021, they actually saw a 54% increase this quarter compared to that quarter. And they did sell close to 4,000 nano channel array flow cells during Q3, which is a record sold in any quarter. It's a 17% sequential increase, which is great, but then when you compare the same quarter in 2021, they just barely beat that. So while it is a record-breaking quarter and it is a nice increase over the last quarter, it is comparable to Q3 reported in 2021. And of course, they recently announced their launch of Bionano Labs, which is a new organization that combines Bionano's OGM data services with the clinical testing services previously offered by Lineagen. And as said by the CEO, we believe our Q3 2022 results, which include the highest quarterly revenue ever for Bionano, reflect continued gains in market development and commercial validation for OGM, optical genome mapping. We were pleased to see improved revenues across all of our global regions, and we remained on track to achieve all of our previously outlined Elevate milestones for the second half of the year. And looking at their gross margin, it was 25%, which is a 3% sequential improvement, and it reflects continued improvements in chip production yield and favorable product sales mix for the quarter. Now, one thing you'll see is that their operating expense was quite a bit higher, and compared to last year's same quarter, 21.8 million. So we do need to see these expenses start coming down and that revenue continuing to grow, and then eventually reaching profitability. However, as we mentioned, they have about $180 million in cash. So looking at the cash burn and seeing that they're burning right around $25 million, at least in this quarter, just going off of that number, that honestly gives them close to 2 years of burn. And that is if things just stay the same, if they don't improve their expenses, get their margins a little better, and increase that revenue. So I'm personally not worried about Bngo. They have a decent balance sheet, especially compared to a lot of the small caps. And the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, says Q3 2022 was another outstanding quarter for Bionano. I'm pleased with our 55% year-over-year revenue growth. We believe this growth reflects the continued excitement about Bionano solutions that we're seeing in the market. Our capitalization remains strong with 180 million at quarter end. We expect revenue for the fourth quarter to be in the range of 7.5 to 8 million. So another record-breaking quarter they expect for next quarter. Now I did want to pull up Bngo on the chart, and as I've said before, we have this descending resistance, and if we continue this trend we've been in, it's very likely we're going to test this resistance here coming towards December, the beginning of December. And up until that point, we do need to hold this support here, this red support and ascending support, and we also have this support under that, which was actually first established on our May 11 low. And funny enough, Bngo has not came anywhere near that low. So in my opinion, if this was to break this trend and even come and test this trend and break, and if we do come back towards these May 11 low levels, I personally think it'll be a great time to add to Bngo. And if May 11 doesn't hold, it could fall further, fall down towards $1. However, coming down towards those prices, I think it's a great time from a long-term buyer perspective to add there. Now, honestly, recently I haven't been adding much stocks of any sort because I am working on moving. So I'm trying to keep my money together, make sure I have enough to move, enough for, any extra expenses on the next house, any kind of sudden things that may come up. So I haven't really been adding much to any stocks, but hopefully once I get settled in, once we approach December, if this does break these support levels, it could be a golden opportunity for me to add to some more Bngo. But let me know what your strategy is for bio-nanogenomics and even all small caps. What have you been focusing on? Have you been getting into large caps lately since they've all been falling? I definitely think, when we're a couple years from now looking back, we will regret not buying at these prices. And while there may be some small caps that a few years from now don't exist and can't survive through these times, I don't think Bngo will be one of them. I think Bngo will make it out, and I remain very confident in this one. And as many of you know, I have mentioned that I've sold a few of my smaller caps. I got out of Astra, I got out of Sphere 3D, just the ones that to me feel not worth the risk anymore. And we'll see into the next year if I decide to pick those back up, if things start getting better, if we start seeing an uptrend on any of those small caps that I just mentioned. And it's a good chance I never touch any of those again, but we'll see how things go. But yeah, as for stocks like Bngo, Indy, ChargePoint, CleanSpark, I have zero worries, and they do remain my high conviction stocks. Thanks as always, guys. Have a good weekend and take it easy.